in Russian, which means nightmare. It's Galina would yell at me to do nightmare again, or nightmare was a nightmare today, just because it's a jump that I never really learned to control very well. It was my wild horse of jumps and would run away with me if need be. All right. Who makes your outfits? Do you design them? From Caroline. I design all my costumes because I'm micromanaging like that, and I like to know everything that's going on in my career, as I can urge all of you to. Design your costumes, pick your music, book your training sessions, know when you're flying, know when you're doing this and that. You have to know everything. While everyone around you is your team, they're also your face. Tara's my face, which is why she, even this early in the morning, does full face of makeup. Because she represents me just as much as I represent her. Your coaches represent you, and you represent your coaches. And the costumes, you know, I represent my costume designer as much as she does me. So I have to wear things that I think are pretty and that I understand. So that's why I design them. And the lady that makes them, her name's Stephanie. She's in New York, and she's made them since I was 12. More questions?
I don't know what you said about the back.
Also, there's one on the back.
Oh, yeah,
I think there's one on the back.
Oh.
Say that one for left.
I like these little pads.
What is your question for Johnny on it?
I know.
All right. From Lily, when did you start skating? How old were you? I was 12 in a cornfield. What's your favorite drinks at Starbucks? I enjoy an iced venti non-fat chai with a packet of honey. That is absolutely my favorite. It has a lot of carbs in it, and it gives me lots of energy. There's actually more caffeine in it than an espresso or a coffee, so I kind of need that. It's been a long few years, so I need a little boost. And that was from Chloe. All right, Nagana. Do you plan on going to the Olympics again? Is question 1. And what has been the best performance you have ever given? I want to compete in Sochi. That's the 2014 Winter Olympics. But as everyone knows, because we're all the skating family, I'm a little old already. I'm going to be 27 in July, and I'll be even older in 2014. But the way I think of it is that my body is younger than a lot of people who started early. So Adam Rippon, if we all know who that is, he's a great skater. He's one of our top skaters.
Who knows who Adam is?
Okay. Adam Rippon, he didn't do so well this year, but he's gonna be the next me. And and he's wonderful. And he started to skate when he was really young. And I started when I was older. So even though he's younger than me, my body's about the same age as his, and he's going to be going for Sochi. That's how I'm looking at it. Maybe if that's a little skewed, so kill me. But I would really like to compete at the next Olympics just because, well, they're in Russia first of all, and a huge part of my skating family is from Russia or lives in Russia. And I love to perform there and skate there. And to compete in another Olympics would be icing on top of an already good career. So I hope I can compete there. And then what was the other one? My favorite performance, my best performance I've ever given was in the Vancouver Olympics. Both programs, very solid. I messed up one spin in my long program because there was a hole in the ice. And I will defend that excuse until I made a mistake on one spin, but I kept it together and I cried and I had a big moment and, you know, I looked pretty, and that was the best moment of my whole skating career. All right, and then the final question, are you ever afraid to fall down? And I am not. And being afraid to fall down means being afraid of moving forward. Being afraid to fall down means being afraid to stand up. Because every time you fall down, whether it's in skating or in life, you have to learn to stand up again and keep walking forward. So I'm never looking at falling down as a bad thing, unless of course you break your neck. That's not. But I'm not afraid of that because I know I'm strong enough to be able to stand up again and claw my way back to wherever I need to be. Failing a test, I'll get an A on the next one. Fall on this jump, I'll land the next one. That's how I am. So I'm never afraid to fall down, and none of you should be either. So, group 1 was excellent. I hope group 2 does just as well, and that everyone is ready for some skating. Any questions for me or Tara that were unanswered?
I have one I just thought of. How often do you think skaters of this level should be practicing every week?
It depends what you want from the sport. If you want to skate in your club's annual show, then you don't need to skate as much as somebody that wants to compete at regionals or sectionals or nationals, Olympics, international competitions, world championships, and so on. But I'd assume a lot of people everyone wants to go to the Olympics, right? So, as much as your family can afford, as much as you can afford with your time, your schedule, your school, you should be on the ice, because there's no better time than today to try and get better, and to try and see where you're actually going. Because not everybody can go to the Olympics. It's a very small team every 4 years. It's 3 skaters or 2 skaters. This year the last year we had 2 girls because our girls weren't doing very well in the internationals. So there were 2 spots after 4 years and lots of girls. So you have to work hard every single day so that you can maximize what you want from the sport. If you're in it casually, then you can skate casually. Once or twice a week, 3 times every month, it's up to you. But if you want to compete and you really want to do it, it has to be your job. It has to be something you do 5 days a week.
Can I add to that? I think a lot of people want to go to the Olympics in skating, and like Johnny said, only 2 girls might get to go in the whole United States of America. But if you really, really love skating and fashion, for example, then maybe you can design a costume for the Olympics. Like, I really, really loved marketing and ice skating, so I became an agent and I got to go to the Olympics with 3 athletes. Or if you really, really love coaching, you might be able to go to the Olympics as a coach. So even if you skate 3 days a week instead of 7 days a week, you might be able to still like conquer that dream with something else that you really love and put your heart into.
That you find you love just as much. My costume designer has been to 4 Olympics now. Her costumes have been there. My hairstylist has gone to an Olympics because my hair was all dazzling in the Olympics, and he was there with me. You guys have to learn that the people that you surround yourself with in your career, and even if it's very short, the people you surround yourself with, they're your team. And everywhere you go, they go with you in some small way, and you represent all those people. So if you're in it to win it, they're going to help you get there, regardless in what capacity. Tara went to the Olympics last year.
It was amazing.
2010.
And it's almost better than skating. Well, you get a little bit more nervous.
You get a little bit more nervous, maybe. But you can enjoy the whole Olympics. When you go to the Olympics and you're competing, you're in this huge village, which in Vancouver was, well, in Italy too, it was a big village of apartment complex. It's an apartment complex that they were turning into apartments as soon as we were done. And the ones in Italy have recently become the projects, like very discounted government housing. And then in Vancouver, in Canada, they do a mixture of very expensive places with very cheap places so that there isn't a big change in the neighborhood. So it's also become an apartment complex. Beautiful, but you get there and you have all these athletes around you, and usually when you compete you stay in a hotel or you have your own space. But you have people running all around, and there's always McDonald's somehow in the skaters catering thing, and it's just
That's just because they're a sponsor, not because it's healthy.
It's because of and also, figure skaters, I mean, we're pretty spoiled. We have to eat the best foods, we have to take care of our bodies, but people that do the bobsled, I mean, they have to run a little bit, but otherwise, they ride a speeding car down an ice chute. They can have McDonald's if they want.
But if you guys want to be bobsledders, it's really cool.
It's very cool, but it's not what we do. We're the artistes of the Olympics. But anyway, it's a very strange feeling at the Olympics as an athlete because it's a lot of stuff coming at you and you still have to focus somehow. I was lucky that I only had one roommate in this last Olympics. And in my first one I had 0 roommates because I demanded it. But but this time I had Tanith Belbin was my roommate. She's the ice dancer. If
Who knows who Tanith Belbin is? Oh, that's good.
Okay. So that was my roommate, and she was wonderful because she competed in a different event. But sometimes they put, 2 of the men's competitors in the same room together, and they have to go compete. Or all the pairs will room together and then go compete against each other the next day. And between the short program and the long program, they come back and they're staring at each other in the room, and then they have to go to sleep next to each other. Like, oh, I just beat you. So the Olympics is gorgeous and fun, but there's lots to think about. Tara did have more fun. She stayed in a high-rise condo. She could have a glass of wine at night if she wanted.
That's not true. We'll do a day in the life. How about that?
Tara worked very hard. Tara stayed up from like 3 in the morning until 6 the next morning, working with.
I had 3 athletes there, so sometimes it's a little cooler. Like if you don't make, like I skated when I was a kid, and I didn't make it as a skater to the Olympics, but I was there as an agent. And I had 3 competitors, and 2 of them were competing against each other. So that was like really conflicting. But anyway. We would go non-stop because there's media, like what you read in the newspapers when you see who's seen Johnny's face in the news. Okay. I hope all of you raise your hands. But you have to work, so you have to take him to the Today Show or the Daily News or the New York Post or all these different interviews.
Oprah.
Oprah, for example. We did a what do you call that?
I did a zip line for Oprah.
Yes. And then he would be done and have to go to rest or practice or whatever, and the next athlete would come and you'd have media. But it's so much fun. It's hard work, just like you guys do now, but it's like super, super, super fun.
It's very worth it.
So how do you keep to your diet and keep healthy when you do so much traveling? I'm having a really hard time having crap at the hotel, a dumb continental breakfast or whatever. How do you personally, like what are your secrets? What do you stick to? Protein shakes and
Diet questions are off bounds.
Diet questions maybe aren't the best for me to answer because I have a very skewed vision of what I needed to do. As a person, you have to know what you feel best with your eating and what hurts you. Right now I can kind of be a little bit more free. I mean, I ate a burger yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. But when I was competing and in it to win it, I had everything I put in my mouth counting. Every minute of sleep you get counts. That's how dedicated you have to be to go to the Olympics. So you have to be ready for that feeling, or a big competition, whatever it is. You have to be so dedicated that you're counting how many minutes you're sleeping at night. It's that important. So for me, when I was traveling, well, I had a short Russian woman that was constantly yelling at me. So that, and she would help me stick to my diet, and she would bring me coffee, and she would do that thing where we're sitting together in a restaurant. Put your arms down, and she would be looking at the menu with her glasses half down. She'd have all her diamonds on and, her hair all done. And she'd go, Jonik, I think salad and chicken. And it never changed. It was always, no matter where we were. Jonik, lovely chicken and green salad with vinegar. Perfect. But then she'd back it up and she'd be like, you look so good, you look beautiful, you have no butt anymore, and you look great. Quad, nothing. And then she'd do a little dance and she'd make me feel really good about it. But, that's how I handled it. Because I like to eat. I don't know many people that don't like to eat.
I find Weight Watchers works really well. But for normal people that like to eat continental breakfasts, it's really, really hard.
You can't eat like a normal person when you are an athlete.
When you are at a moment or a time in your career when you feel like you've been there, done that, and you're kind of like done with it, what do you find to use to inspire you to come back and to get that lift again and to get that edge, yes, the passion back? I mean, is there ever a moment when you feel like, gee, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore? And
Every year.
Every year?
Every single year.
Yeah, what advice can you give to these kids? Because I'm sure that they're going to be suffering burnout or challenges in their life too.
We're all going to be burnt out. We're all going to have issues in school. We're all going to have issues with skating. And what I found best was I would get in my car. I would leave the ice rink. I would have taken whatever torture I had to take from my coach that day, because at the end of the day you have to respect the people that are helping you. And I would finish my skating, I'd get in my car, and no matter how cold or hot it was, I'd open all my windows. I'd turn on whatever the saddest song that I could think of at the moment. I was in the airport the other day and started crying when I heard the song Smile. And I would leave the ice rink and speed down the road, not that you should speed or drive, any of you yet. But I would speed, and I would open the windows, and I would be scream singing as loud as I could and make myself cry. I would have a 10-minute long crying fit, and that would help me. Because I'm not big on being, publicly very emotional unless it's a moment like at the Olympics and you've like done it and then you have some crying or something like that. But I don't, when I'm in the house where I'm working, when I'm at the rink or if I'm in school, I won't get upset. Not anymore.